Okay, I'm just going to dribble through the cards. Whenever you like, call out stop. I'm going to get a card selected. There. So we'll take that card and we'll leave that on the... Hang on a sec. That card is totally blank. That's going to make it very difficult for us to do a card trick, so we'll leave that in the middle of the deck. Let me just double check. Okay. It seems like all of these cards in the deck are in fact blank. Now that's going to make it very difficult for us to do a card trick. But let's try this. Yeah, let's take one of the blank cards and we'll leave that on the table. And this deck actually has a animation. So you see, cards animate. And that card moves as well. So it's going to act like a little printer, but just like a printer, you have to shake it first, and then the ink will dry, and the whole cards in the whole deck will get printed out. This is Fanbelt 2.0. Now it's an updated handling of a classic trick we designed for the mechanic deck. So if you want to learn that classic trick, Fanbelt, head over to this link and you can learn that. It uses a mechanic deck in that tutorial, but it works exactly the same for the turn playing cards. Now this version 2.0 has a benefit of a double kind of colour change at the end, as well as there's a lot more moments that really sell the deck as being a completely blank deck. So grab your cards and let's get into it. Here's how to perform Fanbelt 2.0. The setup is really easy for this. We're going to use a blank facer from the red deck on the face of the cards. The cards can be in running order to make the animation work perfectly, but it looks great in a shuffled state, so that's up to you. So that's the setup. Red deck, blank facer on the face, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to run through this all in one, and I'm going to show you the moves that I'm doing. Now these moves can be switched out, so instead of a stud bottom deal you can do a riffle force, etc, etc. So you can switch out the slights to your skill level, but I'm just going to show you how I perform this, and this is kind of an update on the original Fanbelt. So we're going to use kind of another card as a colour change, and we're just showing a few more blank faces in different ways. So first off, we're going to force a card. So I'm going to dribble through the cards and ask someone to say stop. So as they say stop, I'm going to place the right packet down and I'm going to do a stud bottom deal. So I'm not going to deal this card down, but I'm going to make it look like I'm dealing that card down from the middle. What I'm doing with the third finger, I'm pulling out the bottom card, which is a blank card, and I'm dealing the blank card down. I then replace the cards on top, which keeps everything in order, and I'm going to say, wow, you chose the... it's a blank card. That's going to make it difficult to do a trick. Let's lose this card in the middle. So there's an offbeat here, and what I'm going to do, I'm showing them it go in the middle, but I'm just going to shift that card to the bottom of the deck. So that's just a control. We'll go through that in a minute. Now we can say, well, let's just let's try this. We'll leave your card on the table, but in reality I've just done a switch. Now the blank card is back on the bottom. So I'm just showing the card coming from different places in the deck, kind of really selling the fact that there is any blank cards. They believe this is a blank card, and then that's going to double the strength of the kind of colour change at the end. Now I'm going to go to a series of strip cuts to flash this card multiple times. So I'm just flashing this bottom card and I place it back on the bottom. Now I can go into my blank fan display to really sell the fact that they are all blank. So that's a right-handed fan, so if you do the fan in the left hand you're going to get all the pips, but thanks to the blank card it allows us to do this lovely blank fan. Now we can draw attention to the animation, say, look, this card does animate. Careful not to flash these faces, so we're going to angle it down this way, and it's nice if you can get this card to move a little bit as well. So when you do the riffle, this card should move, so you get a little bit of movement there. You say this deck works like a little printer. Now we turn this over and we get ready for either a one-handed top palm or a clip shift, and we're going to turn this card over at the same time. So I'm going to do a colour change to change this top card here as I turn over, so we get a double kind of flash, and then I can spread the cards, being careful not to flash this bit, spread the cards and we get a double colour change. So here's a more detailed walkthrough. So we're going to use a blank facer on the face of the deck, and this can be in any order, but if you want the animation to work perfectly, have it in ace to king, ace to king, ace to king, but it looks great in any order. So blank facer on the face of the deck and you're ready to go. First off, you can use any force you like. So if you wanted to, you could have the blank facer on top of the deck, swing cut, do a dribble force, and then force that blank facer. So whatever force you want to use, you're just going to force this card to begin with. But I like to use a stud bottom deal to do this. So I'm going to deal this card from the bottom. It's going to look like it comes from the middle. So this just really adds to the fairness. So I can really just dribble through the cards, and then on the next dribble, please say stop somewhere. So you ask someone to say stop. There, you place the right packet down, and now we're going to push over the top card, and we're going to pretend like we just deal that card down. But in reality, we're going to deal the bottom card. So as I push over the top card, underneath, my third finger is contacting the kind of top right edge, top right corner of this card, and I buckle this card down, and that allows me to push it out to the side. So my left third finger buckles this card and pushes it out to the side. This allows me to easily put my thumb underneath and then do the stud bottom deal, forcing that blank card. But with the addition of me thumbing over the top card, it gives me cover to do that. And then as I do the deal, I pull this top card back and it deals the bottom card. So effectively forcing that blank facer from the bottom. So again, say stop somewhere, place the packet down, I come over and then I do the stud bottom deal to force that bottom card. So that's my favourite way to force a bottom card, and it's great because you can do it a few times if you wanted to do multiple selections. Say stop here, say stop there, boom. So it's my preferred way of kind of forcing the bottom card if you're at the table. Even in the hands, it's a great way to do it. So you've dealt that card down, so your card is and you're going to draw attention to it, and you're going to be as surprised as they are. So act surprised. Well, that's going to make it really difficult to do a trick. Now we're going to place that back in the middle, and we're going to do a shift. So I'm going to put that in the middle, dribble, and it's going to go to the bottom. So there's a few ways to do this, but this is the easiest way I've found. So you really fairly put it in the middle, and this is on an offbeat as well, so it's just going to look like you put it in the middle, dribble the cards, and then you've kind of a freely card from the middle, you've just placed it back anywhere. So it goes in the middle, and I'm going to apply pressure between my middle finger and my thumb. Now what I'm going to do is press down, but I'm going to press down this top left corner, and as I do and square it, it kind of sticks out the side of the deck. Now this allows us to bring it even further out the deck. So as I place it in, I'm going to square it, and my thumb, you can see that little corner kicks out, and it also clicks into my little finger of the left hand, so it's kind of like angled there. And as I continue, so I'm going to pull down, so it's effectively gripped, this card is gripped between my little finger and my thumb now. So after I place it in, I square it, my thumb catches it, as does my little finger. Now where my thumb of the right hand is on the back of the cards, it acts like a little pivot point. So now if I continue to pull this, you can see it really pivots against, kind of pivots against that thumb as a fulcrum, and that allows us to bring that card right out of the deck, making it easy to shift to the bottom. So place it in the middle, I squeeze, my thumb picks it up, and then I just kind of, as I look like I'm squaring the deck, I'm kind of making it stick right outside the deck. So that's the first part of this. So I'll try and do it in an exposed view for you here. So I come over, it comes down, and I kind of pull it out the deck here. So it's covered by the hand, and then I'm greatly exaggerating this, by the way. So it comes down, I come here, and then it's there. This is all covered. Now I regrip underneath. My finger, first finger and my little finger kind of catch this in a straddle grip, and now, like a classic pass, I'm just going to pull off the top, and that allows that card to go to the bottom, and I'm just going to dribble at exactly the same time. So that kind of, the dribble hides the kind of action, so it's very casual. It goes in the middle, I strip it to the side, I grip in straddle grip, I pull all this up, kind of like a classic pass. That card will go to the bottom as I dribble the rest of the cards on top. So it's just a nice shift, just to leave it in the middle as you dribble it into the bottom. Okay. Now we're going to just deal any blank card down. So it's going to look like we just deal a blank card down. So I'm going to do a double lift from the bottom. So I get a pinky break above the bottom two cards. My right hand comes over, it grips, and it kind of keeps the break there. So fingers at the front, thumb at the back, keep hold of that break above the bottom two cards. Break, and then my middle finger and thumb slide along the bottom of the deck, and then this is going to be the pivot point here. So I'm going to effectively grab that bottom two cards and just pivot it around that point there. So you've got the break, regrip, hand moves to the bottom as you pivot that double lift out. You then separate from the deck, place it on top of the deck, and my right index finger clamps down. Now we regrip with a thumb as we come back to mechanics grip, and the thumb squares everything alongside these three fingers, and we keep it separated from the deck. Now we put a little bend in it this way, and we're going to act like we deal this card to the table, but in reality I'm going to switch that card out for the indifferent card here, and that blank card will go back to the bottom. Here's how we do that. So we're going to little bend, thumb goes in the back of the right hand, fingers on the front, and what we're going to do, we're going to separate these cards. So from here, as I turn them over, I'm separating the cards, and as I turn over, the fingers here of the left hand are going to pull. So I'm going to turn, separate, I'm going to remove this card so you can see, and these left fingers just pull this blank card flush with the bottom of the deck as I regrip. So it's a lovely switch. So I'm going to leave this kind of exposed. So as I come over, I separate the cards, I pull the card from the back, which is the indifferent card, as my fingers of the left hand pull that blank card flush with the deck, and then I table that indifferent card. Last time here, come here, pulling out the back card as my left fingers bring this card flush. As I table it, I regrip. So the tabling kind of hides that regrip action. So up to speed, it's just there. And then we've controlled that blank card, and we've put in a different card which they think is a blank card, so it's going to double up the strength of the colour change in a second. So they've seen the blank card go to the table, they've seen it being dealt from the middle, they've seen it lost in the middle, so they're already starting to think that the whole deck is blank. Now we're going to really convince them. So we've got the blank card on the bottom, but what we're going to do is a series of strip cuts just to flash this card so many times here, so they really believe that it is a fully blank deck. So on the bottom, I'm going to strip off just a few cards from the top and flash this bottom card. Strip off a few cards from the top, flash this bottom card, strip off a few, flash, strip, 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 show, strip, strip, show. Place that packet back on the bottom. So that's just a nice way to display multiple blank faces where there's only just one. Another way to do this, which is a way that I usually use, is Collivargin by Davis Davis. So this also has a benefit of keeping all the cards in running order. So this is just another way to kind of flash this bottom card multiple times while retaining the order of the deck. So you can go and learn that David Davis Collivargin cut. It's a lovely false cut of the whole deck. Either way, however you want to do this, just flash the bottom card multiple times, place it to the bottom. Now we're ready to do our blank fan. So if you fan the cards in the right hand, you will have a completely blank fan, thanks to this bottom card. So if you fan the cards normally, you'll see all the pips. But with the blank card and doing it in the right hand, then you get this lovely display of a blank fan. So behind there you can see the cards, but the pips are on the left hand side. So by fanning it the opposite way, you get a lovely display of this blank deck. So you flashed, you're going to put those to the bottom and say, oh my god, the whole deck is blank, how are we going to do a trick? Re-square those and say, I'll tell you what, I forgot these cards can work as a printer. Now we show the animation. So grab at the back of the deck and you're going to riffle through the cards showing the animation. Now what you want to do is get the air from this riffle to move this card. So by riffling, you see this card moves a little bit. And be careful not to flash the faces because you don't want to show there's any cards yet. So as you're doing the animation, angle down, and if you can get that card just to move a fraction, it's going to feel like the printer has an effect on this card as well, and it'll make sense in a second. So a riffle, hopefully that card moves a little bit, and now you can say this deck, the animation, it works as a little printer. So immediately turn the deck over, so it doesn't happen right away. Just like ink, we have to shake it to make it happen, and then boom, you turn over this card and you do a colour change here. If you know the clip shift by Chad Nelson, then this is my preferred way to do this colour change. So it's a one-handed colour change, really clean, really easy, just careful not to flash that card now. Or you can do a one-handed top palm here, so you can do a top palm spread, but you're just going to have to table that palmed card. Either way, we're going to do this. So at the same time, I'm going to say it works like a little printer, but we have to shake. So I start shaking, I do the clip shift, and then I turn over that card as well. So we've got a double colour change effectively. So one visually, and one they thought was a blank card. It turns over, and then you can spread all the cards. Careful not to flash that blank card second down, and then you get a complete print of every single card in the deck. So you've shown blank cards so many times, you've dealt from the middle, you've lost it in the middle, you've dealt down a blank card to the table, that's then changed in one hand just because you've shaken it, and then every single card prints. So it's a really powerful little routine. This is Fanbelt 2.0. So yeah, like I say, you can switch out the slides for whatever's in your kind of toolkit. But I love the stud bottom deal as a force. Here, stud bottom deal force. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? I shift that to the bottom, and then I do a double lift from the bottom. So they think it's gone in the middle. So when I do a double lift from the bottom, it's just like I'm taking the bottom card. I then do a full steal, bringing that to the bottom. Different card here, so they think that's a blank card. I then go through my series of displays showing every card to be blank. I do my right-handed fan, really convincing them that it is. I then say it's going to be a little printer. I get that card just to move a fraction. I say, but it doesn't happen just yet until I shake, and then the ink dries, and then every card prints. So that's Fanbelt 2.0. That's the basic structure. You can switch out the slides for the slides that you know. Like I say, instead of the clip shift, I'll show you the one-handed top palm. So it's this. So as I shake, we're going to get that card to change, and then it just means I have to lap that blank card. So the one-handed top palm, all I'm doing is I'm pushing up with my little finger. So my little finger contacts the face of the deck, and I'm just pushing up, and that card will go into palm. So from this way, I push up and that card goes into palm. So, and a little tip on this, with the little finger you want to push towards this hand, so, and you do it in a little shake so they can see it's blank, and then just a little shake and then it will jump into palm. You can then ditch this card. That's if you don't know the clip shift, but the clip shift works really, really good for this. So that's Fanbelt 2.0.